Hey, it's been a productive Saturday. Weather's been fine, so I've been able to basically carry my plasterboard out from the shed over to here, measured and cut to size, and I've got the powder room looking not bad. Obviously still need to do all my tiling. I need to put the sliding door frame up here because it's going to be here and across, and that'll help close it off. Worked out the PowerPoint position, worked out pretty well. It's not connected yet, it's just sitting there because I wanted to make sure it's that. And like the cabinet I've just got hanging there, I've still got to do all my plaster joints, all the jointing, all the corners. I've got to go and buy the corner stuff. I think I've got a piece, so I'll go and grab that, and I'll show you that. But I've got to do all my jointing here before doing the tiling. The tiling's probably only going to come up to the height of this, so that height around the room. We might go a little bit higher so that it meets up with the bottom of the cabinet. This board here, I've only got held in with 2 screws at the moment because I'm still waiting on a plumber to come in, and they've got to put the hot and cold there for my sink. And then I want another hot and cold here for just an access thing, so I can have like maybe a mixer hose for putting a tub down, washing the dogs, that sort of stuff down here. And then they've got to do the laundry tub and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, so that's only there temporarily. I'll leave it there until the plumber actually comes. Need to move it. I think I still need to put the little bits of plasterboard in here for the tiles on there. I need a piece for here. When I looked at all the bits I had left over from just doing this room, didn't have a piece just that size because it's 12 inches deep, 300. It's starting to come together. So this was the stuff I was talking about. It's just a little steel edging, and you get it pushed over your corners, nail it in, and then when you do your jointing compound, you can, your little trowel runs right up to the edge of this, and you get a nice crisp corner on your job. So all of my external corners, these sort of things, have that. It also protects your corners from damage, people bumping into it, that sort of stuff. But the internal corners here are done with the paper tape. You fold it, get it in there, get the plaster on it. And these joints I do with the fiberglass tape, which basically just sticks directly to the plasterboard, and then you start putting your joint compound over it and build this up and fill it. So yeah, internal corner there, internal corner here, all the way down, internal corner here, and behind here and behind the sink. But I need to get some of this because I've only got this little off cut left over from when I did the kitchen remodel. It comes in like a 2.4 or a 3 metre length, so I think I'll need at least 2. Not a lot down here today. I spent most of today doing my readings for uni, which starts up tomorrow night. And so I did that. I read my chapters and recorded myself on my phone so that I could listen to it again. That way it might sink in a little bit better. I came down here a little bit later in the day, decided that this is the fiberglass mesh that you can put on your joints when you're doing your plaster work. It just comes up in a big roll, and it's slightly sticky, and it basically just allows the plaster to have something else to grab onto when it's going up on the wall. So basically do that on most of your flat joints, like here, and I've got the plasterboard here ready for tiles, etc. But I'm giving that a go as the corner piece here. So I've got it pushed into the corner, so it's a tight corner, and it actually is sticking well to the wall on both sides. So normally I would use the paper tape, and I'll just go grab a piece of the paper tape. So paper tape, same thing, comes in a big roll. Usually you just use it straight across your lines, but in the corners there's a slight crease in the paper right in the center, and so you would get that all ready. I would cut my piece to length, and then what you end up doing is you slap a stack of plaster in there, and then you push the paper into it. Then you put a whole stack more plaster over the top, covering all the paper coming out the outside, and then you try and push it into the corner with the corner tool. So it just pushes in there and smooths out while giving it a little bit of a pressure into the corner of the wall. Now this stuff, I've learned how to do this part all right, but the trouble is, if the plaster starts to dry, then the paper peels off the wall, and you'll often see that in a lot of old houses. You'll see the paper seam across the ceiling and that sort of stuff, and it starts to peel off. So just using the fiberglass tape, it allows the plaster to get through, stick to the wall, and this provides a little bit more of a bite for it, and a bit more support, and will basically eliminate the crack in the corner. Now I've got to get those metal pieces to go over the outside here, all along there. And I decided I'd get the tape started, and then I'll just do all of the mudding at the same time, because otherwise you have all your mudding happening at different stages, and like where the walls meet, you can see that it's recessed. You've got to build that up and feather it right out. I've still got to tape off the corners behind the cabinet, but I can't do this space or that corner until after I get the plumber in. And I've got a plumber coming Thursday morning to give me a quote. Not the original plumber that I asked about. They never got back to me. That's starting to look like a real room. I really want to get the pocket door up, and I will get the pocket door up before I start doing that mudding as well, because there's an extra wall against the pocket door. And by the time it comes around to me doing all of the plaster, the mudding work on the plaster, it's going to be a tiny little enclosed room. All this front framing will be done. That was Year 11's Period 2 class. I've got them again Period 4, so I'll let them leave stuff out today. But I had to have a big pep talk with them about effort and application. This course is quite achievable if you just have a go, especially for the HSC. Cert 2 is achievable too, but you've got to be that preciseness. So I said to them, like, if they've decided right already they don't want their Cert 2, they still need to do the work required just to get the HSC. And I said to them, right, sitting down is not going to get your work done. So I've actually just removed all the stools from the room. So you'll see there's no stools in the room at all. So that means when they come in, they've basically got to stand up and do the work, which is what's required. I think some might sit down on the chairs that I've made for changing shoes. Some might go and sit outside, but it means they're not crowding in here as well. There are times when I think I'd like to do theory in here and I'd want the kids sitting. So I'm going to see about making some of those stools like Tass makes, Neil did, where they swing out from the table hanging off the leg. And I could do 4 on each of these tables so the kids sit at the corner of the thing, they just swing out, have them offset a bit so when they're folded back, the seats sit behind, like below the tabletop. And if I did that, I could actually have 20 chairs in here that are out of the way when doing prac, because you could swing them back in. Because even if you were doing prac in here and the stools are in here, you've got to work around the stools that are on the floor. So I think that's going to be a possible project for myself. It'll help me out with my metals and engineering too, because it's going to require a lot of welding and stuff. And I've definitely got enough steel out there to make them. Sounds like a plan. In order to do some tables that, like stools that swing off the legs of the tables, I've got plenty of steel here for like making up a triangular frame. And then I've got steel tube just here to weld to the table legs. And then I just need like a pin that attached to the chair frame that can drop into those so they can swing. Might have to go back and visit some of those ones by Neil. Here's one of those tables. See if there's one with an open end on it. I think that would be strong enough. If not, I've probably got some steel bar over in the trade school that could do that. I think my pep talk did some good period 2 yesterday, because period 4, the majority of them worked a lot better than this was period 1 today, and they were in here working really well. And then one of them noticed somewhere towards the end, he goes, "You actually took the stools out." And I said, "Yeah." And the ones who decided not to work, and there was a couple of them, like I thought, they sat out on the picnic table out there, but that meant they didn't distract the ones that were in here, and these tables were being used really well. Wish I could use the time-lapse footage that I do take of them for evidence, but I don't want to have the kids in my videos. A little bit of privacy for them there. Sometimes I put them up on our school, Instagram, Facebook, that sort of stuff. I give them to our admin guy who puts them up. So occasionally you'll see those, depending on what we do. Often do those when we're doing concreting, big jobs around the school, sometimes in the workshop. Did a little bit of maintenance on all the vices. They're fairly old, Dawn number 175s, Australian made ones, but they were really stiff, and this isn't an enclosed room. It's open here at the sides because it was a welding area. So they've got some surface rust, and I just gave them a bit of lubricant, open them, shut them, open them, shut them, just, they run. Look at them now. They run a lot better, so they'll enjoy that. Happens all the time. This room gets really cluttered. You can see the third table along. That one used to be all enclosed. Took off the side bits so that I can use it for a bit of storage that's not just a dumping ground when you have them enclosed. And I'm going to try and put some vices, at least one on each end, and that way there'll be at least 10 vices in here. Can't really do many more than that because the only other space for them is on the sides of the tables, and they're too close to each other. I'll have to investigate that bit. Sumo messaged me a couple of weeks ago, and it was a couple of weeks ago, saying, "I'm going to do a scrap wood challenge, and I reckon you could do something in it because you kind of hoard a lot of materials and reclaim a lot of stuff." End of another week. We're doing another thing for subject selection at the moment, and it's going to be a virtual tour of the school. We've got a company coming in that's going to take photos around the school. So just like a real estate agent type thing where you go to look at a house and Google Maps and type, that sort of thing. You can come in and do a tour of the school and have a bit of a look at what some of the classrooms and what's on offer in the school. So we started setting up some displays in our area. They'll basically come in, bounce into our block, but they'll basically arrive and just sort of bounce into the middle of the block down there. And from down there, they'll be able to do 360 view of the block. And they'll obviously look up, see the kitchen door, and they'll bounce up into there. See the woodwork room door, bounce into the woodwork room. See the textiles room, and come up and bounce into this area. So I'm going to give you a sneak preview. Come in, land, and then we can see exploring early childhood, child studies, multimedia, IDT, which is VET. We've got some computers, we've got a lot more than that, but that's what's set up, and IST and IPT, our 2 computing courses, junior and senior. And then the industrial arts type things are down in the wood room, which I'll show you now. Okay, before I bounce downstairs, I had to plug the computers in so that they actually looked, you could see that they were working. So when they do the photo shoot and they take the 360 photo, they will see computer screens sort of in the log-on position type stuff. Now I'll go downstairs. So now when they bounce into the workshop, I'm standing basically where the 3D camera will be, and they'll do a 3D pan of the workshop where we have our subjects basically set up and advertised. And we're doing this because of COVID. We can't do a subject selection night this year. We can't have parents up at the school. We were able to do our subject fair for 10 into 11, but year 8, they haven't had anything. So this is what they get, as well as a talk I gave to the whole year group. Like all the head teachers gave a talk to the year group saying, these are the subjects we have on offer, talk to teachers, find out some more information. They got their letter to get onto the website. The website got opened this afternoon, and I forgot to turn it on at the right time because I was setting up all this sort of stuff, but it got turned on by 3:40 instead of 3 o'clock. I actually did talk to my camera on Tuesday about having turned on the website for year 11, for 10 into 11, and it turns out I was talking to a camera that wasn't switched on. And then I've got a short video of myself walking out of the workshop and closing the door. The industrial tech subjects that we have, construction, which is my pet subject that I really love teaching. We've got engineering studies for both year 9 and year 11. There's 2 separate courses. Then we've got industrial tech timber, both senior and junior course. So a 9-10, they do it for 2 years, and 11-12, they do it for 2 years. And over here we have metalwork, like industrial tech metal for year 9, but also vet metals for the senior course. That's the one that I got my extra training for back in 2016, and now I'm doing university studies to get engineering studies as well as my masters in education. So that's all set up, 3 areas up here. Like I said, they will come in here. Hopefully the weather's better for them, because when they first bounce into the block, I've got to close that gate. they'll basically land here and get a 360-degree view of the faculty block. Yeah, we don't have a roof over ours, so open up. And so they'll see, that's the workshop door, so they'll have a point there to bounce into there. The kitchen's up there, they'll have a point there to bounce into there. And then textiles is up here, they'll have a point to bounce into there. And they're gonna go all over the school. I've got a gate to lock, because it's Friday, but I'm gonna go and have a sticky beak at some of the other faculties before I leave. Yeah, they're looking good. A couple up there for Izzy, one there for English. I think PE's in the gym. I want to go and see Kappa. They'll probably have a really good display. So theirs was good. They're still working on it a bit, trying to spread it out a little bit. I've said there, you get little metadata points that you've got to have everywhere, and it's difficult to know what to do because you don't have the, you don't know what the photo's going to end up looking like. I did talk about this the other day, but like I said, I was talking to a camera that wasn't turned on, and it is now. So I made these up a number of years ago out of, yes, old science drawers. 2 drawers, cut the bottom out, put some perspex in. There's a slot here so the kids can just drop their selection sheets in. It's much easier than having them having to knock on the door all day. I need to hand my sheet in. I just put them in there and I'll just collect them when it's all done. Right. It's time to pack up and go. Leave this thing running. So I go. Another staff member found a 3D printed thing for a jet engine, and he was hoping to have it done for the display, but it's still got a couple of hours to go, I think. Anyway, it's Friday, Arvo.